I think I lived long enough to see the destruction of what our ancestors had worked for. I came along during the time when the people were able to get decent jobs, being able to control their own money, and most of them moved away because we found that there were better opportunities in other towns or other cities. So once that decision was made, the few houses that were left, I saw them rumbled through, I saw them torn down, I saw them burned up, and I know that we were burning up, destroying our history. And I think my history made me who I am, and I'm not willing to give that up. I think those people worked, and they worked hard. They wanted us to have a better life than they had had. But if I sit by and let it all get destroyed, I can never pass it on to my children, my grandchildren, and that's being selfish if I think of it that way. I look at this community, and we are all one family. Most of us are related one way or another. All of those who came in and settled, where did they get their wives or husbands from? From all those groups that came in. And that's what made Red Rock so unique. But as I talk to other people who grew up in the same situation, the growing up was basically the same. It was this caring attitude. It was the belief that every adult had the authority to discipline children. That's why we grew up with that sense of discipline and understanding and respect. And that's what I saw us losing. That's what I didn't want to see go away. Mm-hmm. So this is how I got started in collecting this stuff and putting it in here.
Absolutely. And you walk around, there's different sections of the museum. I'm looking at a domestication sign, there's a religion sign, the 12 tribes of Red Rock. And so there's so many different aspects that you guys go into. Just as a for example, maybe two of those sections and why they're important. Let's say the religion section in the Red Rock.
The religion section, I'm glad you chose that one, because once they came together and they were able to build their houses by their hands, no trained skills, just looking at other things and knowing that that's what they wanted it to look like. After they got their home settled, the next thing of importance to them was religion. And next to that was education. And this is the way we've tried to lay the whole museum out. We start out with just those few that came over or came out from slavery, and then we move into this area where we talk about how they settled the churches, who were responsible for them. We can take you back to that first lady, who is that one right by the door. She is the one who started the church, one of the first to come over. And of course, getting the church started, the next thing was education to them. And then once we got education, they saw the need and urgency to go out among other communities that were just like them. And of course, that's where the cross-section of visiting different churches came from. That's how they raised enough money to build a decent church. All of that stuff was coming together. The lady that is left in this community now is the oldest one that's left now, the oldest one that came out of those 12 who's still living. And I think her name is Gladys, and we call her Cook. Gladys should be about 86. And she still lives down here in the community. And I would go by and talk to her just to try to pick her brains. And she said that she's the one that started calling them the 12 tribes of Red Rock, just like the 12 tribes of Israel. Mm-hmm. So that's how that stemmed up, from being brought up in the church, knowing the scriptures, mm-hmm. and knowing that once I had started talking about this, she saw that same unification.
And what's neat, too, is that there's also houses still around here, mm-hmm. that people live in and whatnot. Do you live around this area, too?
I do not, but I live up in Gilmer.
Okay, yeah. So still in East Texas. Right.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. I made the big circle. Once I finished college, I married and moved all the way to Seattle. And then I got into Seattle, and I asked, girl, what are you doing up here? And I started then getting back to Texas. And I finally got back to Texas. By this time, I had 2 children. And, of course, this brought them closer to their grandparents and family members, mm-hmm. once they were brought back here. and they're wonderful girls.
But officially opening in August. And from then, and so, I mean, obviously it's hard to get the word out. This is back in Gladwater. There's not like signs or anything. So as far as just maintaining a museum and trying to get people here, what are y'all trying to do, I guess, during this time right now?
Basically, maybe I should start with, we're trying to keep it clean and organized, because when the people started donating stuff, we decided, well, when I organized this group, the goal was to set up a museum. That's where we were going to put all the stuff that we could find, collect, put together, and this is who we are. But in addition to that, I pulled together a board group, and they were smart enough to help me understand that if we were going to be successful with the museum, we needed something to help us generate money. And that's how that building came to be, the one next door, which is the activity center. And we do rent it out, which does generate a few dollars for the maintenance of this area.
Okay.
So we had gotten this one to the point of just being, being a shell. And once we got that shell, we were able to pull together the things that we had scattered throughout the community. If a person had an old barn that nothing was in it anymore, can we put a box in there? So we put things in different places. And once we got this built into the shell, then we went back and pulled all of those things together, and it was chaos in here. But anyway, once we got it settled and started organizing it, we're going through boxes and writing on there who donated the boxes, what was in the boxes. And we're going to have a research area in the corner back there. Some of the things are too old and delicate for people to just come and look at without touching, and I know that. So if there are things that they think we might have, we're going to research with them. I have funeral programs, and I can't tell you how many, but I think we have about 25 three-ring binders full. And there again, there are people who will come and say, do you know any Mumphreys that were around here? Well, we have it alphabetized now. We had a young group that came out of Kilgore through Portia, and they came and helped us get them in alphabetical order, and they were a big help. So we got them in alphabetical order now, so we can go right to the point and pull that binder up that's got those in there, and if we had anybody, then we could start right there. And they really do give us a lot of information about the families, because who they married is in there, and the number of children they had are in there, and we can kind of give them some anchoring for whatever research they are trying to do. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do, to get the people in here and to see them say, oh, I remember that. That does more for me than anything else I know right now. When I get to heaven, it will be different. But I really get excited when they see something that they had forgotten all about, or they just heard Mama talk about it. One little boy was in the back there, and the box had Tom Mears on it. Well, his mother was looking someplace else, and he came, Mama, Papa Tom is back there. Well, it's just a box with his name on it, but the little boy, all he could do was read the Tom. But those are exciting times for me, for them to be able to come and do that. And we want to be the source that they can come and look and see and be proud, because that's where I say mine comes from. I think I am proud. I am proud to be from Red Rock. Absolutely. I am proud of all of these people, and all of them weren't my grandmas and grandpas, but the community itself. It was responsible for and knew that it could discipline any child that they saw doing anything that he had no business doing. And dare we not go back and tell our parents, because we got in trouble 2 times then. So that's pretty much what we try to do. We try to pull this together so that people can come back and see it, and sometimes learn things about people who were in the community that they did not know. And I've learned some things that I did not know.
So is there a cost associated with it? It's completely free?
Completely free. We do put out a jar and say that No charge, just donations. So if they do a donation, and sometimes they do, and I guess when we had families coming through for reunions, the jar would look pretty good at the end of that, yeah, but
Right.
no charge. It's really something that I feel has been overlooked for me as a person when I think of overlooked as me being a black woman. You can find history about a lot of things and a lot of people, but little small communities like this, you don't find anything printed anywhere. And my thing is, these people did this with no training. No, I tell people there's a man in the back who was considered the carpenter. And I said that during the time that I started this, there were several houses still standing. I said, any house standing in this community today, I guarantee you he put at least one nail in it. And this is the kind of thing that they did. I say what they were doing was making sure that they had something that the other members would need. And it was more or less the barter system. They, if I had eggs, I would send you eggs. And then when you killed your hog, you sent me a ham. And it was this kind of thing, with them looking out for each other, making sure that everybody was taken care of. And when they did this, then the community continued to grow. And like I say, we grew as a family.